Okay, let's take a look at categories here. So categories are associated with ideas. So let's go ahead and generate a new model. PHP Artisan make model category, and let's generate everything. Okay, so let's think of the relationship between ideas and categories. So can an idea have many categories? Sometimes it can, but in this case, we only have one category per idea. So idea belongs to a category, and a category can have many ideas. So let's start with that. So idea belongs to category. So let's add that down here. So let's say category. And let's return this belongs to category class. Okay. And for categories, let's make a method here, say ideas, and return this has many idea. Okay. Next, let's work on the migration. So a category, for now, let's just give it a name. So table string is fine, name. Okay. And for the factory, we don't really need this because I'm going to hard code the categories in, but let's add it anyways. Just say name, and let's just give it some words here using Faker. So this Faker words, let's say 2 words, and as text. Okay. Oh yeah, and we also have to change the migration for ideas. We need to add a category ID column. So that would be this one. So let's put it after the user ID. We can just say category ID, and Laravel will automatically detect that it's looking for a categories table. So let's go ahead and try that out. Migrate fresh seed, and we get an error. So if you look at the error message, it says failed to open reference table categories, and that's because the order of our migrations. So we get here, the ideas table is looking for a categories table, but at this point it doesn't exist yet. So what we have to do is move this before this. So the easiest way to do that is just to rename this so it goes before this. So I'm just going to grab this name here, and let's grab the timestamp here, and I'll just change the date by 1 day before. I'm actually not sure if there's an easier way to do this. So if there is, please let me know in the comments. So let's rename this one, and let's just say 1 day before. And let's say 25. Okay. And now it appears before. And we might have to clear our cache and maybe even do a composer dump autoload for this to recognize that it's changed. So let me just do that just in case. And let's try again. Migrate fresh seed. Okay, we're still getting the error. Actually, we're getting a different error now. It's saying category ID doesn't have a default value. That's because in our idea factory here, from the database seeder, we need to specify a category ID here as well. So let's say category ID, and I'm just gonna make it a random integer between 1 and 4, and we'll just hard code 4 categories in the seeder. So do this Faker, let's say number between 1 and 4, and we'll make 4 categories in our seeder here. So I'll just paste that in here. So we have 4 categories, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let me just import category. Okay. And now let's try that again. Migrate fresh seed. And what do we get now? So I believe I have to create the categories before we create the idea. So let's move this up. Let's get rid of this. And let's try that again. Migrate fresh seed. Okay. So now in our database, we should have those 4 categories. Let's refresh this. There it is. Categories 4. And our ideas are associated with a random category here. So now in the browser, let's make sure we are showing the correct category here instead of hard coding it. So let's go to index, I believe. And category 1 is what's hard coded. So we can just do idea category name. Okay. And that should show the category, and it does. Okay. And we can do the same for when we click in on the show view. So it's the same thing. Let me just grab this. Show. And let's look for category. There it is. Let's paste that in. And that should work as well. And it does. Cool. So we have categories here as well in the create idea, but we'll get to that when we work on that feature. And also in the filters here. And again, we'll work on that when we get there. So if you look down here at the bug bar, you'll see that we have 21 queries running. And that to me looks like an n+1 problem. So if we open it up and we take a look at the queries running, you'll see that we have categories and users here running for each one of these ideas that show up. So to fix that, we should be eager loading the relationships for the idea. So let's go to our idea controller. And right now we are not eager loading those relationships. So let's do that here. So let's say with. So we want to eager load the user relationship and also the category that we just added. And that should reduce the number of queries. And we put this on its own line. And let's see if the query count is lower now. Okay, and it's down to 3. Okay, now let's update our tests. So the same test we did for showing the ideas. I just want to make sure that it shows the categories now. So that should be in, I forgot what I named it. Was it view ideas test or show ideas test? So it's show ideas test. And now we have to create categories and associate them with the ideas. So let's create 2 categories here. Category 1. Actually, this is the wrong test. Let's start with the one up here. List of ideas show up on main page. Okay. Say category 1. Let's use the factory category, factory, create, and let's just say name is category 1. Okay. And let's make another one as well. Category 2. Category 2. And let's make sure to import category. Okay. Now we have to associate the ideas with these categories. So let's say category ID is category 1 ID. And let's do the same for idea 2. Okay. Now we just have to assert that we see the text here. So let's add that here, title, description. Let's add, we can do category 1 name. So category 1 name. Okay. And we can do the same for the second category as well. Okay, so let's see if this test passes. Let's run the test. And it does pass. Let's make sure that that works correctly. Let's go to our index blade. If we remove this, the test should fail now. And it does. Cool. So let's put that back. And we can add the same for the show page here. Single idea shows correctly on the show page. So it's basically the same thing. We just have to grab, I think we only need one category here since it's only showing one idea. Let's do that. And let's add a category ID here. Okay, and it's the same thing. Category 1 ID. And we can assert that we see. We just grab this one here, and it should be good. So let's run that test again. And it does pass. And I believe these tests are going to fail now because there's no category associated with the idea. So if we run that, yeah, it does fail. So we have to create a category and just force it to that category. So let's grab this. And for create, let's just say category ID. is that category, or you can just force it to 1. Okay, and let's run that. Okay, it's passing again, and same for the last test here. Should fail. Okay, let's paste in that category, and let's force it here. Category ID, category 1, ID. Okay, does it pass? Does not. Oh, I have to do it for the second idea as well. So let's force it to the same category. Run the test again. And it does pass now. So let's run all of our tests to make sure everything is working correctly. And it does. So let's go ahead and make a new commit here. So what do we have here? This is episode 13. So git add, git commit, episode 13, add categories.